Hi everyone, my name is Colby Nelson, and I'm going to be giving my speech on the topic of hydraulic fracturing. First, to understand hydraulic fracturing, we have to ask ourselves, what is it? Well, it is the fracturing of subsurface geological formations with the use of millions of gallons of water. There are many of those people that will defend this and say that it is a viable way for the energy we need today. And then there are those that will attack it, and they'll say that it's the energy that we don't want, we don't need, it's harmful to the environment, and we need to focus our efforts on alternative energy. Well, while that might be true, alternative energy is so far off. The argument we have is that it might be harmful to the environment. So during this process, they take millions of gallons of water, and they use a little bit of sand and some other chemicals. These chemicals, though, they're known to cause death or serious bodily harm, cancer, if you do not use your proper protective equipment. While this process is unsafe, I mean, every industry has their ups and downs. The oil and gas industry is no different. We just need to learn how to better the process, get along with the process, and improve on the process. But in respect to hydraulic fracturing, I think it's a viable way to produce the energy we need for today. Most of the opposition, one lady I'd like to mention is, her name's Lisa Sumi. She covers the topic of drinking water contamination, which is a huge topic in the fracking industry. This subscript here is from Lisa Sumi's article, Are Drinking Water at Risk? What EPA and the oil and gas industry don't want us to know about hydraulic fracturing. In a summary, she states, typically fluids are injected underground at high pressures. Formations fracture, and the oil and gas flows more freely out of the formation. Some of the injected fluids remain trapped underground. A number of these fluids qualify as hazardous materials, carcinogens, and are toxic enough to contaminate groundwater resources. Sumi goes on to lead that hazardous chemicals, there's a number of cases on hydraulic fracturing, and where it is the prime suspect that impairs polluted water. While that might be the case, I mean, 100% nobody says one way or the other. I know back when I was living in Pennsylvania, people were suing these companies and taking them to court, but the truth be told, I had buddies that were up there. They lived up there. They said, oh, you're able to light your water on fire. You were able to do that years before the oil and gas industry came. It's just something that's been going on for a while. Anybody will go out and try to make an extra buck, and if they think somebody's listening to them, they will pursue that avenue. And while it's the case that, hey, if some operators cut corners, there can be accidents. But it's people like the EPA, DEP, any environmental protection agency. It's their job to make sure that these lazy operators do not stay in business for long. And if they mess up, they're going to have to fix their problem. One of the other books I found that is actually pro hydrofracking. It's pro. It's pro and against. It has an argument for both sides. But one of the pro arguments it had in the book were several bullet points. And I'll read you a couple of these. Basically, in hydraulic fracturing, when you fracture the well, for it to reach the groundwater, this would require hydrofractures to extend several thousand feet beyond the upward boundary of the target formation through many layers of rock. Another one is, geologists estimate that there are at least half a mile of rock between the natural gas deposits and groundwater. The third bullet I have is impermeable shell acts as a barrier to vertical propagation of both natural and artificial fractures. The third one I have is after hydraulic fracturing is complete, the fluid flow is toward, not away from the well. So as the oil enters the wellbore, so is the water and everything, the fracking fluid, everything else they've used. It's all coming up the wellbore. It's the path of least resistance, the path where it comes up. So basically, in short, what I'm trying to say here is, while every industry has a downside, and that might be true with any industry you go in, the oil field is no different. I believe if done safely and done properly, that the hydrofracking process will provide the energy we need for today as well as the future. Until we start getting our alternative energy sources and everything more in a more viable state, this is the best way. Thank you.